30 seconds. That's all it takes. You walk into a room before you've said a word, and you already know who's been fighting, who's pretending everything's fine, who's quietly falling apart behind a perfectly normal face. Nobody else looked up. That speed isn't intuition. It's not a vibe. It's a system, one that finished its report before your mouth opened to say hello. Other channels will tell you this makes you deep, perceptive, gifted. By the end of this, you'll know something they leave out, where that sensor came from, what it quietly costs you, and the one thing that decides whether it's a gift or a leak. Noticing more than you want to is not the same as noticing better. What's actually happening in those 30 seconds? Your brain is running amygdala-mediated threat scanning. The amygdala fires on subtle cues, a tone that drops half a step, a smile that arrives a beat late, the way someone's shoulders don't move when they laugh. Like for most people, none of that registers. For you, it all does. Below conscious speed, flag in a face in under 100 milliseconds, faster than you can name what's wrong. By the time you've thought, she seems off, your body already flagged it 6 signals ago. You're not reading the room. The room is being read for you. You just get the summary. Think about the last room you walked into. Were you already scanning before you said hello? If this is so useful, why does it leave you so tired? And the deeper question, were you born like this or were you built like this? Two completely different origins. Almost nobody separates them. The first is innate. In 1997, Elaine and Arthur Aron named this trait sensory processing sensitivity, a nervous system that processes everything more deeply and broadly than average, found in roughly 15 to 20% of people, sensitive at 3 years old, in a calm house, with nothing to be afraid of. The sensor came factory installed. Kafka described it in his 1911 diaries, not as a gift, the listening that makes you smaller. The second origin doesn't feel like a gift at all. In 1992, Judith Herman studied people who'd lived through prolonged stress and described a state called hypervigilance, a nervous system that learned to scan because not scanning used to cost something. Now, if you grew up somewhere unpredictable, you had to read a face to know what kind of evening it would be. Your sensor wasn't born, it was trained. A trained sensor doesn't switch off when the danger does. Same behavior, two completely different routes. One person was made deep, the other was made watchful. You didn't notice more because you were deep. Some of you noticed more because at some point, not noticing cost you something. Sit with which one feels like yours. Then watch what it does to you in a room. But there's a trap built into all of this. The observer trap. The most perceptive person in the room is almost always the least witnessed. You're so busy reading everyone else's signals that you become the camera, not the person in the frame. You text the friend nobody else noticed was struggling. You catch the argument 3 beats before it starts. Then you go home and realize no one in that room was reading you. You see everyone. Almost no one sees you back. When's the last time someone was reading you? That's what really costs you. There's a name for the drain. The cost of clarity. Processing every room at high resolution takes bandwidth, and bandwidth runs out. Working memory holds maybe 4 pieces of live information at once. Spend most of them tracking other people's states, and there's almost nothing left for your own. That's why you can name exactly how everyone at the dinner felt and have no idea how you felt. You filed everyone's report but yours. Think about the last time you left a room exhausted. How many reports did you file? Here's the question the comments always ask, the one under the thumbnail. Is the person who notices none of this actually happier? In some ways, yes. Lower stimulus load means a calmer baseline. They walk out of the same dinner unbothered while you're still processing it at 2 a.m. They sleep. But that's not the same as happier. The unaware person isn't happier. They're cheaper to run. They spend less to get through a room. You're not living worse. You're living with the receipts. You see the cost of everything, including what they never noticed was there. You can't notice less. You couldn't if you tried. What you can do is choose reactive scanning versus chosen scanning. Reactive is the sensor running on its own, filing reports on every room, whether it needs a threat assessment or not. That's the version that drains you. Chosen is deciding what's worth tracking and letting the rest go unread. The overnoticer who learns to choose isn't less sensitive. They're more skilled. Same sensor, just not running the program it wrote when you were 7. Which version have you been running? The next time you walk into a room and the report finishes before you've said hello, you'll know what happened. You'll know which origin it came from, and you'll get to decide whether this is a room that even needs the report, not noticing less, choosing what's yours to carry, starting with the room you're in right now. If this is the first time someone said out loud that it costs you something, I made a video on traumatic intelligence. The origin story for this exact pattern. People who built intelligence out of always watching for danger. It's the next thing to watch. Subscribe so the next one finds you. That's what we do here. The quiet psychology of the things you always felt but never had a name for. I'll see you there.